Let's give a round of gratitude to Felicity Silvers, our pianist this morning. Thank you so much, Felicity. Well, good morning and welcome to Interfaith Community Sanctuary. Wow. My heart is just going pit-a-pat right now. I'm so excited, and I'm so grateful to have our guests here from Unity in Lynnwood, our youth group and their leaders and some of their parents and parishioners and our own people here to share together in community about sanctuary and what it means to us. Now, we're going to start. I have so many capable and wonderful young people with me here who are just inspiring me that I have pretty much turned the service over to them all this morning. And they're going to help us through all of our morning rituals and traditions and add some of their own. So that's what will make it a really beautiful hybrid service of guest presentation today. And I will tell you more about them in a minute. We're going to start with a candle lighting and a prayer by Damien Lucio, and we're going to let them do our initial candle lighting here. And who's going to say the prayer? Are you going to also? Okay, I'll give you the microphone when you're ready to say the prayer.
I'm just going to come up with you.
Hi. Sorry, still figuring out what we're doing here. But usually at the start of our little youth service, we like to light a candle of our own. So now I'm going to do that with your guys' candles. All right, and after our candle lighting, we like to say a word of intention. I asked my friend if I should say 10 because there's 10 candles, and they said no. So my word of intention for the day is healing. And now I pass it to Noah to do a prayer.
Thank you. All right, my name is Noah. I'm going to lead us in a quick little prayer. So as we gather here today, we let the Holy Spirit shine through each and every one of us. I invite you to join me in closing our outer eyes and opening our inner eyes. Take a deep breath in and out. Today, we gather here to celebrate everyone. We celebrate the future, the past, and do this through the present. We thank everyone and everything that made our shared presence here today possible, and we put the energy we create here towards this. We gather together regardless of our origin, regardless of who we are, regardless of what we have been through, and regardless of what we haven't. We share this presence, and I show my appreciation to you all equally through me. We are here to celebrate each other, and so we will live that love, for love is who we are and what it is what it brings us together today. Thank you. Amen.
Thank you, Noah. And as we begin here this beautiful service, and as you can see, we have youth here today who are going to be opening our eyes and sharing with us in ways that we don't always get a chance in this community to enjoy and appreciate. So we're doubly grateful and thankful for all of your presence, as I said. Now, who are these people? Well, and where did you find them, Miss Sally Jo? Well, I got to know Stacy Bailey through our work, our interfaith work in this community and Interfaith Community Sanctuary. We work, as you know, with congregations all over the Puget Sound area, with their ministers and with their leadership teams, and we go to their services. And sometimes they come to ours, although they tend to happen all at the same time on Sunday mornings, except for the Jewish services. So we don't always get to each other's sanctuaries for Sunday mornings, but we get together for a lot of other events and to a lot of other gatherings that we do together in an interfaith way. And many of you have been to Unity in Lynnwood yourselves. If you've been to the dinner, the Soraya Attar Medical Clinic dinners that we have every year. The last few years they've been up at Unity in Lynnwood at a beautiful setting there, and many of you have been there and enjoyed that sanctuary as well. And I've invited Stacy, the administrator up there, and the chief cook and bottle washer is what I call her, because she's kind of like that around that beautiful community. And I had asked her if she could organize and help me get her youth group down here to present to us on a guest Sunday. And she said, well, let's see, we'll talk to them. And she met with them, and then I met with them too on Zoom, and we talked about what we were thinking about, our plan, our intention. We asked them for ideas about what they might like to do. I knew, for example, that they have presented to their own congregation a number of times, and that made me very curious. It's like, how does that go? How do you do that? And so we shared and we met, and then we designed a service here for our community. And it's what it does for me is it gives me hope. And I love your opening prayer about the present, the past, and the future, you know, celebrating the past, which we do when we honor our ancestors here, and celebrating the future, which is you all. And we're so happy to be able to witness the future with our very own eyes and hearts and hear what is inside of your beings right now and helping us to evolve into our beings, because we need a lot of help, we old people. I'll speak for myself. And we really are counting on the youth of these communities and of our communities and of our world and of our country and the planet to help us out of some of the messes that we've gotten ourselves into. That isn't to say that we expect you to take over all the messes, because we know the beauty that you bring is what's going to really energize and inspire all of us to work together to go into the future with hope and with vision. And that's what we're going to hear from you today about, I'm sure. Now, I had told the young people and Stacy about our theme of an invitation to create sanctuary in community, which is our overall theme for the year. And it seemed very fitting that this month, which was the month they were available to come, was about sanctuary of self. Because our young people are individuals, they are embodied selves, and they're each going to share about that. And because I had not met them in person before this morning, I have asked Stacy Bailey to introduce herself and ask each of the students, each of the young people, to say their own name and introduce themselves, so that otherwise I'll just possibly mispronounce them or do something, not quite right. So Stacy's going to help me introduce our guests today, and then we'll move on with their program.
Good morning. I'm Stacy. I've been the youth director at Unity in Lynnwood for 11, 12 years now. I'm the outgoing youth director, actually, although I'm not leaving the program, and our incoming youth director is with us today, Grace Skolgert. So we are so excited to be here, and I just want to let you all know that we, the adults, held this space, but everything you're going to hear and see today was written and designed by this youth program. So we didn't write any of it. And I think you're going to find how powerful. I'm so proud of each and every one of these young people. And I am going to start with you here, and we'll just pass the microphone around, and if you'll just say your name and maybe your grade. What grade you're in.
I'm Ian Silvers. I am in 9th grade.
Good morning. I'm Forrest. I'm in 12th grade.
Hi, I'm Felicity Silvers, and I'm in 11th grade.
Hi, I'm Zephyrus, and I am finishing my last credits for 12th grade.
Hi, I'm Noah Madden, and I am about to finish up college.
My name is Damian Lucio, and I am in 12th grade.
My name is Vlad, and I am graduated and pursuing higher education.
My name is Chloe, and I'm in 9th grade.
Okay, so Sally Jo, did you want them to just kind of start us off? Or okay, so I will let them take it from here. Our featured speakers will be Zephyrus Carter and Noah Madden, and I'm not sure what's next. So, group song. Okay, group song. So they're gonna teach a joy song.
We got it. Okay. So something we do in our youth groups is we have these joy songs, and we sing them in downtime when we need to wake up or we just want to do a little something to bring up the energy.
So today, ours is going to be a little bit more of a silly song to start us off. It is a call and repeat song. So if I say something, you'll repeat it back.
All right.
All right. If you do something, you do it as well.
Yeah.
So if we could stand up, that would be amazing. As you are able, that would be great.
Yeah.
You kind of like
All right.
scooch in. I'm going to turn this off.
Yeah.
Yes.
Of course.
All right.
Okay.
This is a call and repeat song. This is a call and repeat song. So say as I say and do as I do. So say as I say and do as I do. I said a boom, chicka boom. 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 I said a boom, chicka rocka, chicka boom. I said a boom, chicka rocka, chicka boom. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. All right. All right.
One
More time. One more time. Janitor style. Janitor style. I said a broom, sweep a broom. 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 I said a broom, sweep a moppa, sweep a moppa, sweep a broom. I said a broom, sweep a moppa, sweep a moppa, sweep a broom. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. One more time. One more time.
Flower style.
Flower style.
I said a
Bloom, blossom, bloom.
I said a bloom.
I said a bloom, chicka bloom.
I said a bloom, chicka bloom.
I said a bloom, chicka blossom, chicka blossom, chicka bloom.
I said a bloom, chicka blossom, chicka blossom, chicka bloom.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
One more time.
One more time.
Fountain style.
Fountain style. What?
I don't remember fountain
I
style.
don't know that one.
Okay, how about this? Race car style.
Race car style.
I said a vroom, shift a vroom.
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 I said a vroom, shift a skirt, shift a skirt, shift a vroom.
I said a vroom, shift a skirt, shift a skirt, shift a vroom.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
No more times.
No more times.
Hello. I hope our little song was fun and everyone enjoyed, even with our hiccups. But anyway, I am here to do the daily word, where we just sit and have a word of the day, and I'll read a little passage, and then we'll just sit and think on it for a minute before we move on. Today's word is appreciation. Appreciation keeps me in a state of gratitude. It can be easy to take the blessings in life for granted. For the gratitude I feel to be supplanted by the busyness and concerns of everyday life. But practicing appreciation is the best way to attract even more blessings and stay open to life and love. Appreciation and gratitude keep me in a state of awe and wonder, open to the beauty of the world and the kindness of other people and the benevolence of God. With my heart and open mind, the world's wonders, I am simply magnetic. I draw to myself blessings large and small. Oh, that's my spot. Synchronicities, serendipities, and all kinds of wonderful surprises come my way when I am appreciative. I live in ease and grace, aware of the presence of God, and grateful for every day. I will give thanks to the Lord with my whole heart. I will tell of all your wonderful deeds. Psalms 9:1.
All right, so I will be starting us off today with the exploration of oneness. So we live in a world of discrimination, hate, greed, and the world is fueled by it, and love is sometimes hard to come by. But that doesn't mean we have to follow the narrative and are still from loving freely. So today our theme is appreciating differences. We want to share with you how we go about that and how you can too. And it's not as hard and scary as it may first appear. One way to think about it is how we are all one. Inside of us, we each have this beautiful, bright, brilliant light, and it shines uniquely within all of us. And it shines within you, your neighbors back at home, and the people you cross on the street. And we share this as we are all one, with each other and with the world around us. And on the outside, we don't all look the same, but that would be meaningless with this light within us. And that light connects us with everything around us, from the trees to the bugs to the person sitting next to you. And I'm here to share with my light you all, and to see yours within myself as well. And this is the concept of oneness.
Okay, so Zeph touched on how we are all one, but I would like to touch on the exploration of uniquity. We are all unique. An example I like to use for this is snowflakes. Each snowflake is individually a different design. Each snowflake is the same. No two snowflakes are the same, if you've ever heard that quote. But they're all snowflakes, so they still keep that oneness that we all share, but yet we're still all unique and come from different backgrounds and cultures, everything. To get a little deep, as a kid, I was told that I was weird and not liked. I was bullied a lot. But I took that as an insult as a kid. It hurt. But as I grew up, I realized being weird isn't an insult. They may be using it as one, but I don't have to take it like that. Because being weird is being unique. And being unique is perfect. We don't want to all be the same. That would be boring. If we all looked and act the same in everything, it'd be boring. Houses all looked the same, people all looked the same, we all dressed the same. It just wouldn't be great, because we wouldn't be ourselves. Because being ourselves is what makes the world bright, and it makes it work. Sorry, I'm a little nervous, but it's okay. Society has taught us that being weird is wrong. If I can't understand it, it's weird and therefore not okay. But if we come to understand that that's wrong, that being unique is what gives us life and personality, we can come to love each other, we can make the world better with love. And that will make it easier. And I'm going to hand it back to Zeph.
All right. So, why do we love and accept? Everything that exists is a product of an environment. So, when you ask yourself, why do I love? The answer is easier than it may seem. You are what you are taught to be by your parents, by your peers, the world around you. Your views were nurtured by everything in your world. And so it became all you knew. You see things that were taught to be scary or bad, or things that you do not know, and you learn to fear them. But that doesn't always mean as such. You disagree because that's what you were told to do, because disagreeing was nurtured, it was celebrated, because that's what was thought was right. And it goes against who you're made to be, your beliefs, your moral code. To someone raised in the city, the country can be dirty and eerily quiet, but they miss the beauty of the nature and the stillness within the quiet, the chance to just breathe. Whereas someone raised in the country goes to the city and only sees the busyness and the overwhelming while missing its own beauty and its own usefulness. And your world is so personal that you can never even guess someone else's world, because theirs is so personal to themselves. So when something new challenges our beliefs, we grow uncomfortable. And this world only makes it worse. It perpetuates it. And so much so, it grows the hate. And people in our world celebrate it. They practice it. They say the hate is right, the hate is good. But that isn't the case. But that isn't bad per se. It's just a chance to learn and grow. If you see something new, something that goes against your beliefs, how do you approach it? Do you ignore it? Do you stand against it? Or do you just accept it as it is? It's a difficult question with just as difficult of an answer. But every scenario is different. Does it make that person happy? Does it bring others down? Is it something truly even negative? Is it harming anyone? Does it make that person, does it bring others down? I have a lot of questions in here. Will ignoring it make it worse? Or will it help someone else change their views too? Ignorance isn't always the best option, but sometimes it isn't your place to push your beliefs onto somebody else. So, my approach is thus. If it brings them joy, love, and comfort, does not bring anyone down, does not harm anyone, and is at no direct effect to me, then I let it be and try my best to understand it. And even if I don't, I accept it as it is, because that is what makes them happy.
Often we share our beliefs in a disguise as help or something that is right. So much so that we begin to blur the line between actual helping and forcing. I implore you to stop and think, but don't always fall into ignorance. Together we make this world, and together we can make it one of love, and not the one of hate that seems so far spread.
All right, and to add just a little bit more, how do we make this a reality? The world where everyone can be whoever they want to be without worrying about hate or discrimination. I wish I could say that it's simple, because I would love it to be simple, but it's unfortunately not. We live in a society where if someone is different from us, if we don't understand them, it makes us uncomfortable. That's just human nature. That doesn't make you a bad person, and there are ways to learn from that, but it just does. When you take the time to learn about it and take the time to appreciate it and accept it, I think that you'll find that it's beautiful. That thing may be somebody's pronouns or gender identity or even their culture and how they talk, even if their accent. Anything. If it's just a little different, it can make us uncomfortable. When you take the time to sit with that person and try to learn about it and appreciate it, whether you understand it or not, it makes love just shine through everyone, and it grows love throughout everyone else. Once you've gained understanding, don't be afraid to say something if you see someone who may be misinformed, and teach them. And don't be afraid to be told that you may be misinformed. And don't be afraid to learn. That's the biggest one. Please don't be afraid to learn about that thing that you don't understand. It's okay if you don't understand, as long as you're not using that misinformation to hurt others, whether that be with your words or something else. Making mistakes is good. That's how we learn. You can't learn without mistakes. So don't be afraid to make them. It allows us to grow and share that love and light with more people. So, as my last little huzzah, if we take the time to learn, to teach, to appreciate, love, and accept everyone as they are, faults and all, we can make the world a happier and better place. And I'd be honored to share that world with you and help you create this world one step at a time. Thank you. That's it. That's everything. I don't know how to transition. Not, we want to do the. Yes. Thank you, Stan.
At this point, we could get all of these to kind of move their chairs.
Yeah, we're going to have a time now for response of the congregation, which we often do, always do when we have a guest service in particular, guest speakers. And this is our chance. We've listened to a very powerful and deep presentation of these young folks, and the presentation was created by all of them together without adult input, actually, except just talking about the theme. And now they have asked if they can hear back from some of you who might have something to share. You might have a question come up. You might have had some experience come up that you would like to ask the youth for advice on how you might have handled that or how they would have handled that. I know I have had a lot of things come up just as you gave your many colorful examples and your insights. I found it very stimulating in my own mind and associating different experiences that I had had even as recently as last night. And maybe I'll open up with that, and then I'll pass the microphone, and anybody who wants to either share or ask a question or combination of the two. And then do you have the other mic up there somewhere? Then you could pass the mic around for the answers. So we have a question microphone or a comment microphone and an answer one. And you want to turn on the top. Yeah. So it's interesting when you were talking about differences. And last night I was at a classical music concert, and I went there by myself. And when I went in to sit down, I went in at intermission. I got there a little late, and I went in and I sat down next to a gentleman who was sitting there. And by then, the orchestra had gone off the stage, and we were just talking, and I laughed, and I told him how I'd gotten lost on the way, and that's why I was late. And he said, "Oh, that's okay. Getting lost is a good thing." And he talked about how he would go after school sometimes in the morning and forget his book bag, and his father would say, "How can you go to school and forget your book bag? That doesn't make sense." And we were joking, and I noticed that he had a very unusual accent as he was speaking. It was what I would consider a beautiful accent, and I was trying to identify it because as a musician, I always hear things deeply. And he was talking, and I was thinking, well, he sounds like African, and he was an African-looking person, but it also kind of sounded French. And I'm thinking, well, what were the African colonies that were French? And I really wanted to ask him where he was from and what his accent was. And I was dying to know, and I kept trying to think of all the countries in Africa and what it might be, but I was embarrassed. I thought, no, that could offend him, my asking that. So I just went on with the conversation and remained curious about it, and later he went off and sat with, actually some people were invited to sit up on the stage after the choir had left. So I didn't see him again and encounter him again. But all evening I was thinking, should I have asked him where he was from and what his accent was, or was it better just to keep quiet about that? And your talk made me think about that. Like, sometimes it's hard to decide. I was feeling very positive and happy about hearing the accent, but he might have assumed that I was judging him for the accent. So I'm wondering if anyone has sort of just a response to that, since it came up in my experience recently.
On? Oh, yeah, it is. So I've also run into a lot of situations like that. I think most people have, where you're not sure if you should ask something. And kind of what I learned in my time, and people have asked me questions before, I think it is pretty much always better to ask, as long as you are coming into it with good intentions and you're being kind about it. You're not being rude about it, which of course you wouldn't be, but I think honestly the best thing you can do is ask, because a lot of the times people are willing to share those things. A lot of the time people want to share those things because they're important parts of themselves. And so I think no matter how nervous you are, taking that risk to ask a question is a good thing, because people want to inform you of things. People want to answer those questions. As long as you aren't coming to it with ill intent, I think that it is perfectly acceptable and a good thing to ask.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, is there anyone else who would like to make a comment or an observation or ask a question?
I just wanted to echo what you said, but I'm very interested in people. So, like, I'll just start saying, oh, I was at the airport because I was coming back from New Orleans yesterday, and there was a person standing there saying, hey, how are you doing? And then I ask them where they're from, and people really, they like to talk about themselves. So it's interesting. And they can tell right away if you're doing so with respect and just genuine interest. I mean, if somebody asked me a question, I'd be happy to answer it. I mean, you can tell if they respect you when they're asking the question. So if you're being respectful, I found just to ask.
I'm so happy to have you here. Thank you for coming. It's great to have your youthful energy here with us. And your wisdom. we don't frequently hear, we're kind of an older generation, most of us here, and so we don't get to hear this fresh perspective often, and it's lovely. It's like a breath of fresh air. So I was thinking, I wrote all these notes down because you were just inspiring me so much. So I found myself kind of like Sally Joe in a situation recently where I'm old school, right? So I said to a checker, I said, thank you, ma'am. And I meant it in the nicest way possible, but after I said it, I realized that that had a gender association with it. And I thought, boy, I really can't say that anymore. And so what can I say that would not be offensive, you know? But that's sweet, you know? I want to be sweet to people. So do you have a recommendation?
So I don't have a recommendation on like a sweet thing you can say, but what I will say, as someone who is trans myself, male to or female to male, not male to female. If I hear that, I typically, if it's not done with like an ill intent, I tend to notice that they're not doing it on purpose, or they may not know, especially if they don't know me personally. Like if it was a checker, like you said, like I don't know them personally, and so I typically don't take offense. Some people will, but it's very rare that you'll find trans people who will find offense to that, especially if you don't know them or if you're not doing it on purpose. So I don't really have a recommendation beyond that, but that's my little spiel.
I have found that there aren't a lot of like gender neutral honorifics when it comes to talking to people that don't just sound frankly a little weird. I would just go with like thank you kindly or just your thanks. It is in human nature to assume, and that is not bad. Though, like, take it with a grain of salt. If someone tells you how they identify, then follow through. But it is not, you are not bad for assuming. And you can find ways around that, but I understand that it is hard. Because I even find myself assuming, and there's a line with assumption and being, like, honest assumption and being with malice. As long as you're being kind, most kind-hearted people will not care. Of course, there's the few instances, but there's going to be few instances with everything. So yeah, just go at it with kindness. And that's all I really have to add on to that.
Thank you. I also had another question, if you would be willing. Okay. So, you know, I think at the heart of so much of this is that, you know, people don't understand the other, so to speak. And that's often fear-based, you know, it's like it's different, so that I'm afraid of what's different. And the question then becomes, how do we overcome that fear? What in ourselves can we do to decrease our fear? And how can we de-escalate fear in others? I'm wondering if that's something you've thought about.
Yeah, so that's a really tough question, and there is no simple answer. I would like to say just don't be afraid, but that doesn't really work. The thing with that is genuine human nature. When you see something you don't understand, it sets off your fight or flight, and that's why you're afraid, quote unquote, which comes from how we are biologically, thousands of years ago. That's why. That's a scientific thing. But the best way I've found personally for trying to help fix that fear is to, one, be brave, which you cannot be brave without fear. That is what makes braveness brave. And take the time to get to know them, because once you understand it, then that fear goes away. That's the only real way I've found to not be afraid, is to just kind of push through and try to understand and sit with that person or that thing to help bring that fear because of not understanding down.
One thing that I want to add, because I've dealt with people being scared all my life. One thing that I feel like people honestly forget, and you know it on a baseline, but you're not always consciously thinking about it. We are all human. We're all people. We all have our own fears. We are all scared of things, scared of people. We're all intimidated. That person that might scare you or intimidate you or make you nervous, they're scared of people too. They are just like you. They have the same feelings. And yeah, that doesn't always work to help with all of your fears, but it is just important to remember that we are all one and the same, and we all have these fears. And sometimes I think of that and it helps, because I remember that they're a person just like me, and a lot of the times people want to be kind, especially in spaces like this. In a lot of spaces, people want to be kind, even if they seem a little scary or different. They're just like you, and yeah, that's my little word of advice.
I just want to share one last quick thing. Quick.
I just wanted to add on to what they said, that personally for me, how I kind of get over that fear of other people, their interpretations of me, is just approaching it with curiosity. Always being oh, so this is how they see it. I want to understand why they think that, because it's always so interesting to hear what everyone else thinks and what they believe. So yeah, that's just kind of how I approach the world, in addition to everything that Damien and Noah have said, which is very powerful.
It is very powerful, and I just wanted to say thank you again, and you inspired me to think of this, that God is infinitely creative. Look at all the diversity. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh, okay, then I know.
I got here a little early and I saw you all standing outside. And I was thinking, what do I have to offer you all? And I often do that. I go someplace and I have that in my mind. And so I'm preaching to the choir now, is that I'm wondering if any of you all have mentors. And if you have a mentor, how's that experience is for you? It could be any kind of mentor in any way.
For me, my mentor is my older sibling. My parents haven't really taught me how to adult very much, and my sibling stepped up and taught me how to do my own things now, and how to just live a little differently without having to depend on somebody. And they're the one I go to whenever I need help, because they're the one I can rely on.
I apologize for laughing a little bit. I looked over at my mom, and her face made me laugh. I apologize.
But beyond that, my mentors are also my friends, because yes, we may all be similar in age, but we all have very unique experiences. And just because someone is the same age as you or even younger than you doesn't mean they can't teach you something very, very valuable.
I immediately thought of two people in specific. One of them is my mother, because she's guided me through a lot, which is probably because she's my mom. But I'm very grateful to her and how much she's put into how much I've learned throughout my life, both just like through school stuff, like school subjects, and spiritually and morally and everything like that. The other one I thought of, though, is her name is Alyssa, and she is one of the people I've always looked up to in the youth program through Unity. She's the reason I decided to take on a leadership role the past couple years. I was the Northwest Regional Representative and then the International Representative for Youth of Unity, and planned and facilitated more than 5 events. I don't remember how many. 3 internationally, no, not 3 internationally, 3 regionally, 1 internationally. So she really inspired me, and a lot of her lessons I've taken into how I lead my lessons in my life. So.
My mentor, I might not have known exactly personally, but I always like to take example from Keanu Reeves, who lives humbly and is kind to all others. And especially with one of the quotes from one of the movies he was in, which is, "Be excellent to each other." And I live by that. You should always be excellent to each other, no matter what.
So, I don't know how many of you sit and listen to the questions and try and like think of what you would answer it if you were personally asked. I don't know if any of you are sat here like, I don't have a mentor. I don't believe you have to have one, in all honesty. Like, I personally don't really have a mentor. I am my own mentor. I just kind of take the punches as they go, and I think that is totally achievable. I don't think you have to necessarily have someone that I don't think there has to be a path for you to create your own path, is what I'm trying to say. I don't think there has to be an outline of someone before you to say this is what you need to do to be great. I think that you can make whatever path you want and then see where it gets you and then adjust from there. As long as you're able to adjust, I think personally you can do anything as long as you believe in yourself. You don't have to have someone to look up to, as long as you look up to yourself, that you can do it.
I think that you just became my mentor.
Thank you so much again for sharing your insights and such an inspiration. I guess I had a couple questions, and I know we don't have too much time, so feel free to pick and choose. One question I had was, what gives you hope? The other question I have is, as we look around our society, there's positive influences, there's positive forces, and there's negative forces. And I'm wondering, what do you draw upon? What helps you, and what are some of the negative forces that you feel are influencing youth these days? And how do you personally navigate that, in a sense? Are there things you have certain practices, or you mentioned moral code? What helps you navigate these forces in society that are influencing youth right now? If you don't mind sharing some of that, and I know it's a big question.
For the first one, what gives me hope is knowing I've made it this far.
That's a good one. To your second question, I think a big negative source on teens currently is the internet. Just entirely. There's a lot of positive things on the internet, but there's a lot more negative, unfortunately, on the internet. And teenagers are very impressionable. especially when it comes to things that they learn on the internet and social media specifically. But what I like to keep in mind is I use what my thoughts create my reality. So whatever I think and put out into the world is what my world will be, and I will receive it back. Yeah.
Again, with the second question, I had a bit of a different answer, but I want to be honest here. So there is a lot of hatred in the world, and some of it comes from social media, some of it comes from society, some of it comes from the way people are raised. And honestly, I myself try and focus on, a lot of what was talked about in the lesson. Is what someone's doing hurting someone? Is it making them happy? Then why should I fight against it? But what I do think is when I see that negativity in the world, especially negativity that harms other people, that is used for hatred, I fight against it, honestly. Not physically, obviously, but I will talk about it and talk about how it hurts people. Some of that negativity is really harmful, and people will say horrible things just because of the way someone identifies, just because of the way that they look. And what I do to make the world more positive is speak up about it and say, hey, why? Why do you feel that way about someone? How does it affect you? Just because you don't like it? That's just absurd to me. And I think that it is fair to argue against that a bit. Of course, I come from a place of love and wanting to teach, but I think that it is fair to stand up for other people's right to existence and right to live their own life.
I was thinking kind of in addition to what Damien had said, that yes, the world is filled of hatred and all of these negative things, but how we kind of move past it is acknowledging it and being like, yes, this does exist, and reflecting on what you can do and how you can bring positive things to the world and how you interact with people, how you represent yourself, things like that. So you can think about it and not dwell on all of the negative things, because if you did that, where would it get you? There's just too much of it. So if you think about everything positive and how much good there is, it gets you very far.
For the second one again, I like to think of it from a middle ground standpoint of there can't be good in the world if there isn't some bad. But with that, I think that most people need to stand up for what they think is true to themselves and what they believe is right for them. And this includes educating others if they believe that this is what needs to be educated. You need to stand up for yourself sometimes, and that's okay. And sometimes there's bad things in the world, but just remember that there's also good things, and there can't be good without the bad.
Okay, I think we'll do one more questioner, and then we'll keep going. This has been beautiful, though. Thank you all for your wonderful, thoughtful answers, too.
Yes, thank you. I've been looking forward to having an opportunity to have a group of youth like you all do a presentation like this, because I've been wanting to hear your voices. I don't have any people youth your age in my life, really. I have a 40-year-old nephew, and then I have a 5-year-old great-nephew and a 3-year-old great-niece, and no one in between. But I've really appreciated your thoughts on accepting differences, thoughts on how we can give hope to the world and spread love and honor each other and be respectful, which partly answered my second question. My first question relates to when I look at the world where it is now and think about, I ask myself, what kind of world are we leaving my 5-year-old nephew and 3-year-old niece? And that really frightens me, actually. I try and have as much hope as I can, but when I look at the dysfunction in our society, and you've addressed a lot of how to like support each other and address the hatred. Another concern that I haven't really heard directly expressed is, will there even be a world left in terms of the environment and what's going on, and also in terms of like wars that are happening now? I know that's a heavy topic, but I'm wondering, is there any other things that any of you would like to share in terms of concerns that you have? How can we as elders support you in growing up and in providing a world for you where you all can thrive? And it's a very open-ended question. I would love to hear any of your thoughts of, what else can we do to support you all? And do you have any other specific concerns?
And with that, I would just say, in terms of that needs action. And if you cannot, and act in any way, even if it's little, just some sort of action just to keep the world spinning. Because I know it's hard, but every little bit helps. Every little thing you can do helps. It may be minuscule, but if everyone does it, minuscule turns to a lot more. But it's a little bit of action, whether that's speaking out or even changing your lifestyle, just the littlest bit. Action is what it takes, and it doesn't have to be moving boulders. It could be moving pebbles out of the way.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, action can be done in so many ways. Wow, I'm forgetting all my words. But really just standing with what you believe in, what matters to you. Stand with that and do what you can. And that's not saying that you need to force other people to believe the same thing, but do what you can with yourself to, if you care about a better future, then advocate for that, talk about it. Doesn't mean you need to make other people believe the same way, but you can be verbal about it. You can tell people how you feel. And go do what you can. I don't know if I'll get in trouble for saying this, but voting. Voting is a really good way to help for whatever you believe in. I'm not gonna tell you what way to vote, that's your own choice. But no matter what way you lean, what you think is important is what you should be voting for. No matter what, I think that it's important because that is a really good way to get your voice heard in our society. And I think no matter what, everyone deserves that voice to be heard, and it's a big impact. And I think that it's important, and it's something that is talked about a lot, but also is kind of, people don't like to address it directly all the time, but I think it's important too.
Like Zephyr said, I think even the smallest action can shine like gold in the memories of others, regardless of how big or how small. As long as you do it with the intention to help someone, I think that's good enough. And I think that's what really will help cultivate a world in the future where your little nephews, nieces, anyone else who you care about, who you have a connection to, can thrive, no matter how big or small. And that's what's important, I think.
Okay, so to sum up, I think that intention and what you believe in deep down is huge. I think that applies to intention, especially applies to any and every question that was asked by any of you today. Intention is huge. It shows where someone is coming from, what they believe in, and where they stand in your interaction. But also, just like remembering, again, we're all people, we're all in the same boat, even if we're well, I'll take that back. We're not in the same boat, but we are in the same sea. So, but still, just like keep that in mind. Keep that in mind that we're all human at the end of the day. Keep in mind that your voice is big. your voice can get a lot out. For example, us standing, speaking today gets, even if you all aren't actively listening to what we're saying, it gets an idea out there. It gets an idea farther than just inside our heads in what we believe. And that is huge, especially when you feel the need to fight for something that you believe in. Even just talking about it to people gets your opinion out there, and then circling back to keep in mind to be open to other people's opinion. Don't come into something so set in your own opinion that you don't even want to hear what the other person has to say. It's very important to at least listen to what the person has to say, and then if you want to alter what you believe afterwards, you can. But just be open to it.
Well, we're going to have a little more time after the service to talk to our youth downstairs, and because I want to ask everybody, what do we think about the collective wisdom in this youth group here today? I mean, seriously, this is just incredible. The collective wisdom in this group of young people is just, it's just wowing me. And you've all been so articulate and so kind and so open-hearted and helpful, and we're just deeply, deeply grateful. And we've created here a sanctuary for everyone to come and open our hearts and open our minds and understand each other in a way that maybe we wouldn't have done on a normal Sunday afternoon, right? So again, deep, deep gratitude for coming to us and helping us, and for all of you who came today to hear these beautiful words and thoughts and songs. And we're going to go ahead with a sanctuary song that we can join in, and there are words in your program, and our youth are going to lead us in this one.
Yes, so this song is called Sanctuary. Typically we circle up and hold hands, so as you feel comfortable, we ask that you stand, hold hands, or even like an elbow is okay. I'm gonna link arms with you because I'm gonna have the mic so that they can be heard. Yeah. So. All right. Let's take a deep breath really quick. All right. Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. Lord, teach the children to stop the fighting, start uniting, live as one. Let's get together, love each forever, sanctuary for you.
Thank you so much. We are going to do a few of our important rituals here at the end of the service before we say goodbye to our friends online. And we always ask for a love offering from people who attend our services, and those online are also very generous by giving offerings online on the donate button of our webpage. And we appreciate that because it helps us keep this historic building in good repair and clean and beautiful and open to all the events that we have here and all the people we serve and all the wonderful programs we have. And this is an historic building. It was built in 1890, and it's the oldest wood frame church in King County that still is standing as a church, as a house of worship. And we're proud of that, and we want to keep it going. So we thank all who have given their wealth, their whatever they have to give, they give. Some people give enormous amounts of time and their hours to help keep this sanctuary beautiful and kept up. And we keep the trees trimmed and the plants nourished and the building clean and all the wonderful ways that we share our time during our communion here. We also have many upcoming gatherings in our community. We've had some beautiful gatherings that have happened recently. Our luncheon with several communities, and Unity in Lynnwood was one of the communities that shared our spiritual conversations a couple of weeks ago. We had a beautiful dances for universal peace here on Friday evening, which was just incredibly nourishing. We're going to have some more of that. And we have events coming up. Well, every week we have certain classes, and they meet during the week, sometimes on Zoom, sometimes in person, sometimes both. We have Friday prayers in the Islamic tradition. We have a Thursday evening silent meditation group. We have Mevlevi Order, which comes in with the whirling dervishes on Monday evenings, and on certain Sundays we have a Course in Miracles, which meets. We have our Native American Healing Circle, which meets several times a month and once a week. So we invite you to our website and to join our mailing list for our upcoming gatherings every week, and you can hear about the classes, the one-time classes and the regular classes, and you can get involved in so many different ways in things that nourish your soul and nourish your ability to get out there and live your beliefs, as you all were saying, and get your word out there and be with people who are willing to love each other and be in community with each other. Are there any special announcements? Okay, I know there would be some.
Yeah, something coming up. We're going to start something, and it's not on the calendar yet, but I'll get it there soon. A film festival, a film once a month, coming together for a film, and it would be great to see you guys because we're going to start with a series of Miyazaki films. So if you're into Miyazaki, come on down. October 17th will be our first one, and we're going to have a burrito bar at 6:30, and at 7:15 we will do a Miyazaki film, and then once a month we'll do another film. So yeah, the 17th will be our first one.
We're always thinking of new ideas. Thank you, Nora Grace, and it's wonderful to have a new activity on our calendar, and we'll get that out to everybody as well. But you have to, if you go on our website, you can just go, there's a little button where it says click to get upcoming gatherings, and then every Monday morning around 10 a.m. you'll receive a little email that tells you what's coming up this week and in the very near future of events that you might. Some are here at this location, some are at other locations where we've collaborated with other groups to have special programs. So you're welcome, all are welcome to all of these programs, and we really enjoy participation from others. Any other announcements? Okay, then at this point, I think we're going to say goodbye to our friends online and thank them for being here, knowing that there are some people who cannot make it in person to our service. Some of them are at other cities or states or even parts of the world, and we're very deeply grateful that they sign in and that we can share with them in the way that we do. And we enjoy knowing that we're getting a nice outreach. And then we take just a few minutes here